So tonight I'm going to take you back in time. Let's go all the way back to June of 1990. It's a true story tonight, not a ghost story. It's just a true story about how life can get you in trouble and you don't even mean to. The name of this one tonight is It Ain't What You Did, It's What They Thought They Saw. Human beings are strange creatures. Two people can witness the same event and walk away believing completely different things happened. Psychologists call it perception bias. Law enforcement calls it witness interpretation. The military? The military usually calls it a misunderstanding waiting to happen. Tonight's story starts in an army barracks around 1990, June to be exact. When paychecks were cash, when pizza delivery drivers still carried coins, and a loud metallic sound inside the wrong room could change somebody's entire sense of reality in less than a second. And honestly, that's where the story starts, and that's why it's funny. Right up until how you realize how often this exact same thing happens in real life and can change someone's life. So we're going to start out in the barracks. If you've never been inside an army barracks in the late 1980s, early 90s, it's hard to explain the atmosphere. Concrete walls, metal bunks, military gear everywhere, and that smell. If you've ever done it, you know what I mean. I'm talking CLP, gun oil. That strange mixture of solvent, steel, and carbon residue that permanently lives inside the military buildings. And that night, a bunch of us were cleaning weapons. Now, civilians sometimes imagine that scene wrong. They picture chaos. But honestly, weapons cleaning is usually quiet, focused. You've got rifles broken apart across the bunks, cleaning rods laid out, patches, brushes. Everybody's doing routine maintenance. And somewhere during all this, somebody got hungry. Now, back then, there was one thing every broke soldier loved more than payday, and that was the pizza guarantee. 30 minutes or it's free. To civilians, that sounds like advertising. To enlisted soldiers, that was a tactical operation right there. So you got a room full of soldiers armed with boredom and a countdown timer. And the financial desperation of junior enlisted life. Every few minutes, somebody checks the clock. He ain't gonna make it. What time you got? Man, we about to eat free tonight. And you looking back at that pizza driver, he never had a chance because nobody in that room was emotionally rooting for him to arrive on time. That's when it happened. 33 minutes. Not 30 minutes, not 29. At 33 minutes, we had a timer running. That's when the knock finally came. And the room came alive. The door opens. The pizza guy walks in carrying boxes. And one of the soldiers instantly hits him with, 33 minutes, man, come on now. Now here's the important part. To us, this was harmless barracks nonsense. Normal military trash talk. But the delivery driver, he was walking into a room full of young men arguing loudly about money. Now me, I wasn't even paying attention to the pizza situation. I was focused on my rifle. I had finished cleaning my M16 and I was running through a functions check. Totally routine, totally safe. And that's when it happened. I released the bolt forward. If you've ever used one of these rifles, you know it makes a loud metallic clank. And that single sound changed the entire situation instantly. Because from my perspective, it was nothing. Routine maintenance. But from the pizza guy's perspective, it sounded like a weapon was being prepared. And that's when he panicked. The pizza driver turned his head, and this is what he sees. A room full of soldiers arguing over money. A guy sitting in the corner holding an M16. Now remember, he doesn't know what a functions check is. He doesn't know military procedures. He doesn't understand the environment. All he knows is his brain just connected money, frustration, and rifles. And that's all human fear needs. He dropped those pizza boxes right in the middle of the floor, turned around, and ran like the devil was chasing him. And when I say he ran, this man exited the barracks like survival itself depended on it. One of those guys, Thomas, as a matter of fact, grabbed the money and started chasing after him, yelling, "Hey man, we're trying to pay you." Now, unfortunately, that made the situation look even worse. Because now outside the barracks, you've got a terrified pizza driver running for his life, and you got a soldier chasing him. And naturally, the MPs noticed. So the MPs run over and ask what's going on. The driver tells them, "They tried to rob me. They got guns." And now suddenly, a late pizza delivery became a potential armed robbery call. And that's how fast perception changes reality. A few minutes later, the MPs walk into our room with the delivery driver behind them. And there I am, sitting calmly on my bunk, rifle broken open, cleaning rod down to barrel, looking about as threatening as a mechanic changing spark plugs. The driver points directly at me and says, "That's him. He pointed a gun at me." And the entire room froze, because from our perspective, that statement sounded insane. I had never even spoken to him. I never moved towards him. I never even looked in his direction. But from his perspective, he generally believed that's what happened. Now here's where the story stops being funny and starts becoming important, because science actually explains this really well. Human memory is not a video recording. It's a reconstruction. And when people experience fear, their brains start filling gaps with emotional interpretation. That delivery driver didn't consciously invent a false story. His brain created a narrative that matched the fear he experienced. And honestly, humans do this constantly. In politics, at work, in relationships. People don't always react to reality. They react to what reality looks like through emotion. That night eventually settled down. The MPs realized it was a misunderstanding. The driver got paid. Nobody got arrested. And afterwards, one of the MPs looked at us and said, "You boys ought to apologize." And honestly, I remember thinking, I'll apologize, but I don't even know what I actually did wrong. Because from my perspective, I had done nothing wrong. And that's where the real lesson finally hit me years later. It ain't always about what you're doing. It's about what people believe they're seeing. And honestly, this may be more relevant now than it ever was before, because modern life runs almost entirely on perception. Social media clips, headlines, half context moments, sound bites. People see fragments. They read the headline and they build a complete narrative around it. And once the emotion gets involved, facts really struggle to keep up. That pizza driver didn't need evidence. He already had the story in his head. And once fear writes the story, logic rarely edits it. So maybe the real lesson from that old barracks story isn't about pizza or rifles or military life. Maybe it's about awareness. Because you can be completely right, completely innocent, and still accidentally create the wrong perception. And sometimes that's all it takes for things to go sideways. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. This is Todd Edwards with TicBite NC. I'm coming to you live from the swamp and beyond. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, make sure to like and follow the page. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. And share it with somebody. The best support for old-time storytelling is simple. Help keep the stories alive. If you're watching me on Facebook, consider a membership. Until next time, Pay attention to what you see, and maybe even more importantly, pay attention to what other people think they saw. Good night, everyone.